Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Enter the Ether, the podcast all about the upcoming third-person MOBA Ethereal Clash of Souls. I'm your host, the Mangoose. Joining me, as always, is the one and only JellyKnees. I'm gonna put the Jelaya up there when I do that. So,
Nobody
doing,
noticed
Jelly?
last week.
Nobody noticed
knew.
that is a testament to how good the graphics are going to be for Ethereal, that nobody could tell the difference between Malaya's CGI eye and your actual eye that I photoshopped into her image.
It's the little things, right? If you can swap those in and nobody knows, then it's real. Must be real.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. So we actually have a lot to talk about this week. There was some Undying released a bunch of information, and then after that, we're gonna have a discussion as to why us as Paragon refugees ended up gravitating more towards Ethereal than the Parazombies. But first, Jelly, let's get to the information. What do they release for us?
I mean, so it's like a big thing and a little thing at the same time, right? Things that most people may not think about when they play the game, but are important in information-wise before the game is released. So first off, we've got the stat icons. So every stat's going to have a unique icon that ties to it. Most MOBAs have stat icons, so that's not necessarily a new thing, but just being able to see those icons, I think kind of shows the level that they're at, right? That they have these things made up, they're ready to go. And maybe we'll still see tweaks here and there, but having a dedicated icon to each stat, I think is a huge step for them in terms of preparedness and readiness for the future, which is huge. There's none of them that like stick out to me more than others that I'm like, oh my God, like this.
There's one that sticks out to me that confuses me. Maybe you know what it is.
Is it the Perseverance?
No, Persistence. I know what that is. That's immunity. Well, not immunity, but the decreased crowd control.
Yeah.
Mythical Damage.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. I completely forgot that existed.
What the fuck is that? Is that like ultimate power?
To me, I think that's going to be like true damage. I think that's going to be their equivalent, but because everything's called myths and they're kind of gravitating around that, calling it mythical damage, I think is the ethereal way of doing it.
That makes much more sense than what I thought.
Now I have to know.
Thinking it was like for ultimates only, maybe, but then like not everybody's going to have a damaging ultimate.
Oh yeah,
maybe they will. We don't know, but I doubt it. I'm sure there's going to be some ultimates that don't deal damage.
The other thing it could be is that like there's a damage threshold where you cross when you do a certain amount in one go, a certain chunk of it becomes mythical damage instead of regular whatever it is. So it deals 2 times to resistances or whatever it may be. But I think most likely it's going to be that true damage equivalent.
I don't see physical resist on here. I see magic resist, but no physical resist. I guess that's what
armor
defensive power is.
No, I think that's just straight armor is physical resistance, and then magic resist is
okay, gotcha,
is the magical resist. I don't know, I can't words. And then the other big thing that we got, I think is much bigger than just stat icons, is the archetypes for the myths. And granted, this can always expand in the future. They can create a new archetype that they want as part of the game for balance reasons, right? That one thing's oppressive, so they create a new archetype to counter that archetype. But for now, I mean, they added, I think it's 12 archetypes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 archetypes. And they all have very interesting descriptions. A lot of them are ones that you would hear in other MOBAs or see in other MOBAs, maybe just renamed to something slightly different. But then they have ones like Spy, which is an archetype that I've never personally heard of in another MOBA. And it's listed as being a mobility escape myth. That's a cool idea of how to do, basically having somebody that can get to the back lines and get out at the same time without having other like crazy amounts of strength or power to them, that their just whole job is to get in and out of places, which is a really cool idea that I'm really curious to see what myths will fall into that archetype at the same time.
When I read Spy, I immediately thought of Kalari because it also said moving around the map, like type abilities, and Kalari had her global ultimate.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking something along those lines.
Yeah, I kind of got a similar feeling. And as a Kalari main in Paragon, I would kill. I would kill to have a myth in Ethereal like Kalari. Oh, please, please, devs. I have one request. That's it. Well, that's not true. I have lots of requests, but for now, forget about those. Except releasing the game. I want Kalari.
Some people say Kalari main. Some people say asshole.
I mean,
it's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny it. I know who I am.
So yeah, and what it is, it's you got your classes, but these kind of break them down even more. So like you've got artillery and burst. I can imagine that your mages would be an artillery mage or a burst mage, like either somebody that can throw shit from long range, or they just do really fast damage. And then it's probably on like a big cooldown or something. So that's pretty much what these are. Did any of these catch your eye other than Spy?
I think the other big one for me was the Gladiator archetype, which to me is like kind of the bruiser archetype, very similar in that regard.
Right.
But I think I think Gladiator fits that better. In my head, when I think of a Gladiator, that type of myth or champion kind of fits that title, I think, more than a bruiser. When I think bruiser, I'm thinking like the muscle for a mafia mob boss, right? I'm not thinking like a guy that can get in there and do damage at the same time.
That's funny.
I think I love the fact that they're putting not only a full length description for each archetype, but an also like 2 or 3 word, very like synopsis of, so like Gladiator is offensive tank. Spy is mobility escape, right? Like they're giving you very quick, succinct, this is what this person's going to do if they belong to this archetype. You don't need to understand the ins and outs of, well, this archetype has 500 things to it and all of that. But what about you? What are the big ones that stuck out to you?
The one that stuck out to me and made me laugh was Juggernaut. Juggernaut is an immobile powerhouse. What about Juggernaut says immobile? How many Juggernauts do you know that are immobile?
I mean, like the X-Men Juggernaut is semi-immobile. And by that, I mean, he makes things in front of him disappear. I don't know. That's a League mechanic. So I know League recently being several years now, introduced a subclass called Juggernauts, which are kind of the slower units. They usually don't have any kind of movement ability. They usually don't have fast escapes in any way, shape, or form. But they stand in one place and they do a lot of damage while they do it. So it's, if they get into the middle of a team fight, they're going to be usually very, very strong. They have usually some kind of AoE damage. And that's why they get in the center of a team fight and they just bash down people because that's where they thrive. That's the best place for them. Whereas if they're on the back outskirts in the back line somewhere, they're not going to do nearly as much.
So would something like a blink be really good for somebody that would be classified as a juggernaut?
Oh yeah, if they could get access to a blink somehow, huge. Like if a Gideon portal is something that a Juggernaut could access and just jump into the middle of a team fight, that would be a huge thing for a Juggernaut type myth, which I think is really cool to have. I think the fact that they have so many different archetypes shows the level of depth they already are into character creation and myth creation for the future. Because I'd be very surprised.
Thought process going forward, yeah.
I'd be very surprised if the first 15 that we know about fill all of these archetypes.
Right.
For me, seeing what Spy is, I don't see any of the myths we know about currently fitting that Spy archetype just based on their looks and voice lines. So I think there's going to be several archetypes not filled initially that can be later, which I'm excited for.
Completely agree. Yeah, Sentinel kind of caught my eye too because Marina is the Cerulean Sentinel. But
you don't think she's going to be a defensive tank?
I don't think she's going to be a defensive tank. No, I think she's going to be a support.
We're going to go full health and resistances on Marina.
Then their supports seem to be the Enchanter,
Mm-hmm.
which, yeah.
But I feel like they could
So,
easily cross archetypes across roles that you wouldn't expect. That you could see like Enchanter Sky Slayers, or you could see,
mhm.
which is something that I would be really excited to see for that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of potential with these archetypes to go down and do that. Maybe one person is two archetypes, that they kind of have a little bit of both of those things. There's
Right.
hundreds of things that they could do, even with just these 14, let alone anything else they have in the works.
So this will be nice. It'll be a descriptor to tell you exactly what you're kind of getting into whenever you pick a character, just like Paragon used to have. Like they would be like, this person's an assassin tank or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
All right. That's about all I had to say about these. Check them out on their Discord if you wish. They have them all posted there, and you can read through the full description and find out for yourself what they all are. And did you have anything else to say about this,
I think
Jelly?
that's all I've got for the archetypes.
Right on. Excited to see what comes out of these guys. Like you said, the stat icons, I was like, eh. And like I've been busy as hell, so I didn't even know about the archetypes until right before we recorded. Jelly mentioned them. I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about?
Dude, I love that kind of stuff. I really do.
All right, so let's move on to our topic of discussion today. We're talking about why we kind of gravitated towards Ethereal instead of the Parazombies. For me, it's a whole lot of different things. Even towards the beginning, when Phoenix Rising was still a thing, I had more faith. Well, I was looking forward to Phoenix Rising more than Core or Predecessor or any of the other ones that were out at that time, just because it was something new and different. And actually getting my hands on the Paragon remakes has confirmed that for me. Nothing, people kind of look at Paragon like it's a religion. And if you don't completely, follow the epic assets, then you're committing sacrilege. I think that the spirit of Paragon lives on in Ethereal, that they're trying to break the mold and do something so totally new. Paragon did that with a completely actual third-person MOBA, and then Ethereal is continuing that on even further. They're evolving even further. So that's one of the reasons I like Ethereal, and that's why I'm most excited for Ethereal out of all the different little projects I track. What about you, Jelly?
I think that's a great way to put it. And I would say that I'm in the same boat. Paragon kind of trailblazed a little bit into the 3D MOBA space by doing all of the things they did with the way the map works and the actual verticality involved, and giving you that third axis of movement with your mouse instead of just on a plane. They changed a lot of that stuff, and I think that's part of what drew so many people into Paragon. And I mean, I got into Ethereal because of one of your videos. So that to me, because Ethereal is that next logical progression from Paragon. It's the exciting new thing that they're trailblazing in their own right, making things more class-based than just the archetypes like we've already talked about. They're innovating in their own way on the 3D MOBA space. And I think that that's a great thing to see. And I hope that it gets the kind of attention that like Paragon did when it first came out. For that reason, instead of some of the other things that we've seen since Paragon's downfall of kind of migrating, hoping that it's Paragon. I hope that people realize this isn't Paragon, but that's okay too.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And again, whenever I play any of these Paragon remakes, there's always a disconnect. Like there's always like they're doing great things. I don't want to shit on any of the companies. They're doing great things with the assets that Epic gave them. But like, okay, a character that I played in Paragon that is in like Predecessor, Overprime, and Fault is Murdoch. Whenever I play Murdoch in any of those three games, they feel good, they feel awesome, they're fun to play, but there's just something off. Like it's not my Murdoch. And that is always going to be there and always be lingering in the back of my mind when I play those games. And that's sort of what cemented, after I actually played some of the Parazombies, is what kind of cemented in my mind that I kind of want to leave Paragon as a great memory and move on to something new that I can experience for the first time and make that my own, not constantly be reminded that I'm playing the shadow of a greater game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think for me playing the Paragon successors, it's always through rose-colored glasses. It's
Mm,
always that I enjoy the game, the Parazombies more because I'm remembering Paragon, less so because of the game itself. And that's not to say that the games are inherently bad, but like you said, there's just something off, all right? And it feels like you have to just be okay with that playing those, and that's something that I struggle to get past in some cases with
yeah.
these games. They're fun to play, right? Don't get me wrong. Like I've enjoyed my time with each of them separately, but they're not Paragon in that same regard. And
It
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. My bad.
And basically it's I've grown from Paragon as well, since it's been gone, and even just while Paragon was alive, right? And it's kind of the like, you've almost outgrown the relationship with Paragon, for lack of a
Yeah.
better way to put it. Um, but that's kind of just where I'm at with it. Is it's not that I don't have fond feelings and I don't hope that these companies do well with what they're doing, but it's just kind of that it's time to move on to other things kind
Yeah.
of feel for me.
Actually, the most fun I have when I'm playing any of those other games is when I'm playing heroes that I never played in Paragon. I know a lot of people seem to think that I was like a Narbash main in Paragon. I fucking hardly touched Narbash in Paragon. And that's why I enjoy him so much in these other games, because I would always go Decker or Richter or some other support. Playing Narbash, I don't have as much of a disconnect because I never played Narbash in Paragon. But conversely, like Fault brought Richter back, and I was like, yes, Richter, he's back. It feels so bad because it is just not the Richter that I remember at all. And that's not their fault. And I'm sure that they'll make him better and better. But for now, it just feels so wrong. And I think my top two played characters was Richter and the Fae. And you can play the Fae in Overprime. She feels so wrong. She just doesn't feel like my Fae. And it's a little bit depressing when it just doesn't feel right. The only one that came anywhere close was Overprime Shinbi. Like, even though her scuffed ass sound effects are just terrible, she still plays like I remember Shibby playing at Paragon. She feels really fucking good in Overprime until you get to her ultimate and realize that you have to target it and they have to be in range. And it's like, wait, what the fuck? Why do I have to target her ultimate? Like, that was part of the allure of Shibby, was getting in there, dealing a whole bunch of damage. When you start getting low, you peace out, blow them a kiss, show them your ass, and they die. And you can't do. You have to actually get in range, and you have to somewhat target it. It's kind of a lock on. Ugh. There's always that one thing that
Mhm.
drives me away from the Parazombies.
Absolutely. And like you said with Richter, Kalari being one of my highest played, I feel the same way. Kalari's been instituted in 2 out of the 3 Parazombies, or the larger Parazombies, and both of them have their own things that I'm like, yes, like this part is Kalari, but as a whole, it's hard. I don't get the same warm and
Right.
fuzzies that I got back in the day playing her. Um, the other thing for me for Ethereal, like, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't, is there's a part of me that is excited to be on the ground floor for the game.
Yes.
Um, and that, I mean that as a content creator and just as a fan of gaming in general, that being on the ground floor of this up and coming game, kind of without being like too hipster about it, kind of being able to say that like I was there when
Right.
feeling, I think is a big part of Ethereal. And I think it was a big part of Paragon for a lot of people as well, when the closed beta went out, or the periods then thereafter. I was there for Prime Dunk, which a lot of people don't know what Prime Dunk was, right? It's the little things here and there that you can be a part of from the ground up for a new exciting game like this.
Right. That 100% agree. And yeah, like you said, it's more about the game experience and less about like the content creation thing. But the content creation thing is good too. Any content creators out there, you know, now's the time to get into Ethereal and establish yourself. Like just, you know, it's going to release sometime, I guess, fairly soon. Don't fucking TM that shit. And but like, okay, I would have way more subscribers right now and way more views if I would just ignore Ethereal and focus solely on the Parazombies. That's what people want from my channel. But I got to do what I enjoy, and I enjoy Ethereal, even though I've only played that demo for Extra Life. I know Ethereal is going to be my jam. I really hope that they can deliver and that it doesn't just feel off. It doesn't feel like it just isn't bad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's no way it's going to feel awkward as the Parazombies do, because these are completely new heroes that we're learning, or myths, I should say.
Yeah. I feel that 100%. And for anybody that wants to get into content creation for Ethereal, do it, right? Like,
yeah.
There's no gatekeeping on our end, and there's no gatekeepers at the moment either. This is the time that if you're even slightly considering it, do it. Like, reach out to myself, and I'm sure Mangoose as well. We'll give you what you need to make whatever video you're looking for. We're not trying to hold anybody else from joining this group and promoting it onward.
Yep. People hit me up all the time, DMs on Discord, and to ask for either advice or like some content that I have that they want to use for a video. They always seem surprised that I answer them, but if you send me a DM on Discord asking for help with content creation, I'm more than happy.
I mean, okay, I understand where they're coming from, because my first video, I sent you a DM for content in order to make it. I remember I was weirdly like, it was like you were a celebrity to me, and I was like, oh my God, like what do I say to this guy? How do I like, oh my, I don't know why I was so nervous about it, but I was 100%. And then now here I am talking to you like it's nothing.
Yeah, and you know that I'm a complete jackass.
I mean, I didn't say it.
It was in your eyes. It was in the Jelaya. It's going up there again.
Oh my goodness. But I mean, I think that's the big thing for Ethereal, is just, it's new, it's inventive, it's trailblazing. It feels like a next step from Paragon. And everyone I've talked to on their team wants it to be that next step, right? There's nobody that I've talked to that's like, oh yeah, I'm just here for the experience and then I'm out. A lot of them, or almost all of the people that I've talked to, if not all of them, are all like, this game has the potential, and that's what I'm here for. Is I see that this game can be successful, and I want it to be, and so I'm putting my heart and soul into it because of that.
Yeah, they got some great people working at Undying Games. A lot of them are plants from Jelly, but
we don't talk about them. If you're a plant, you're going dark. Go silent. Go silent. We're not talking right now.
I'll cut it out of the video. Don't worry. That's about all I had to say on the topic. Jelly, you got anything else?
I think that's it for me as well. What about plugs, Mangoose? What do you got this week?
Oh, I got nothing. I got jack and shit. I guess I'm gonna still do those weird little videos I do with the little icons.
I've been loving those. Like, I get notifications on my phone. Mangoose uploaded a short. I'm like, oh yay! Like,
I did one earlier. It was like, was it? It's like, oh, dear ADCs, here's a friendly PSA from your local support main, and it's just the Ron Swanson going, I know more than you. And that's it.
As a jungler, your one about like how to gank mid lanes, I was like, thank you. Somebody found a way to put this into words that's not just screaming at the mid laner, what are you doing? I loved every second of it. If you guys haven't seen those, go check them out, because they're honestly fantastic.
Well, thank you. Jelly, what do you got? What plugs you got?
More videos this week. I've been kind of slacking the last couple weeks, but we're going to be uploading more than one video this week. I can say that much. And
Okay,
in
awesome.
theory, if things are working out, there's going to be a big thing revealed for me and released this week, but I can't give any more information on that until it comes time. So subscribe to me on YouTube because I'll talk about it there, or join my Discord and I'll talk about it there as well. Either way.
Right on. Looking forward to it. And okay. I think that's about it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This one was a little longer than we have been. I think as we get closer and we start getting more information, these will be getting longer and longer, and you might be getting pissed that they're so long. But until then, I hope you get on their website, get on their Discord. I hope you join us as we enter the ether. Mango.